knocking on your door recently?
No, not lately. Michael Rose doesn't have the same view. I'm sure you understand this, but I'll just paraphrase. Michael Rose does not have the same view as people like Walter Longo, who feel that aging is actually programmed. What Michael thinks is that there is a sort of, a bunch of processes that happen by default that are able to be turned off at the end of life. And I think, as you probably know, that he is being misled by his own mathematics. But in terms of the actual concept of programmed aging, which people like Longo and Josh Middledorf have promoted over the years, I think that nothing's really changed recently, and certainly I've had a lot of email exchanges, especially with Josh Middledorf over the years, and they've been quite productive. I think they've helped both him and me to understand more easily where our disagreements lie, and that's of course what needs to happen in order to identify experiments that could be done that could actually be decisive on these things. But so far, no such experiments have really been thought of.
Right. Yeah, I know Dr. Rose had talked about genomics and being able using RNAi in order to reprogram things and turn off certain genes that seem to be associated with aging. But yeah, I haven't seen any. Have you seen any research results in that area? No, not at all.
Not, I mean, Michael, of course, continues to bump out stuff relevant to this himself.
No, he does.
But a lot of the work he's doing at the moment on specific genes is in his private company, Genescience, which means, of course, it doesn't see the light of day terribly much yet. Now, I am in reasonably close touch with Genescience. Their CEO is someone who used to work at the Methuselah Foundation, Damien Crowe. Okay. And so we have close relations. But they don't keep me informed of all of these things.
And something that occurred to me when I was talking with Dr. Rose and some of his proposed interventions for aging, and Dr. Middledorf and some of these other fellows, Walter Longo, is that a sufficiently advanced SENS type therapy, or what Dr. Rose might propose, would seem to me to be very similar. If you end up getting rid of malfunctioning cells or senescent cells that are just causing trouble within the body. Whether, I mean, perhaps, if you turn off a gene in order to do that, or you change some of the functioning of the cell, so all of a sudden you get apoptosis. It sounds similar to what SENS might accomplish as well, right?
Sort of. It could be similar. It's more likely that the effect of these genes would be somewhat different from a SENS intervention. In other words, it wouldn't just cause apoptosis of cells you didn't want, or division of cells that you wanted more of, or anything like that. It would be more like changing the overall metabolic mechanics by overexpressing or underexpressing particular genes. And that's always much more dangerous in my view. It's much more likely to have side effects that result from things you haven't thought of. Especially one of the very hardest things to determine when you're looking at the possibility of intervening in aging by messing around with levels of gene expression is whether the levels of gene expression have already done their harm at an earlier age than the age at which you want to intervene.
Okay, I think I follow you there. So again, it's a lot more complicated in your mind as far as messing with the genetic expression throughout your life than more of a engineered, damage control approach or damage removal approach.
Repair, that's right. Repair and maintenance is what I think is simple.
Repair and maintenance, right. Okay, just want to, again, let everyone know, the interview will be closing down here. Sorry it was a little bit truncated tonight because of the little technical trouble that we had.
I can do another 10 minutes.
Oh, yeah, we've got another 10 minutes. That's right. Okay. Someone has asked, what is your view of the WTA, transhumanist movement? I mentioned before when we had a little rough start to the program about the opening of Transcendent Man, Ray Kurzweil. I know that you've talked with Ray, and you've been talking with many of the WTA leaders in the past. What's your view of the transhumanist movement?
Well, I obviously have many friends who call themselves transhumanists.
Sure.
I don't really call myself one, but it's a bit strange, really, because I was the first recipient of the Wells Award for outstanding contributions to transhumanism back in 2004. I think I even gave a lecture in receiving it called something like "Is Aubrey De Grey a transhumanist?" It's an interesting question because really there are many ways of defining transhumanism, and I feel quite comfortable with the original way from the 1950s, where Julian Huxley talked about continually humanity transcending its previous limitations.
Sure.
But I guess I identify rather less with Max Moore's interpretation of transhumanism as a process of transitioning towards being post-human. I don't really identify with that intuitively very much.
I see.
I'm just a practical guy. I just don't want to get old and sick.
Yeah, that's a very good desire or goal, I would say, with many of the people here tonight do share. And someone did mention your book, Ending Aging, so I just want to put that up there for people to see in case you hadn't heard. It was released last year, Ending Aging, written by Aubrey De Grey and with Michael Ray. And as well, we have been talking a little bit about something else I want to promote. That is SENS 4, the conference in Cambridge, England. And that is September 3rd through September 7th. Correct, Aubrey?
That's exactly right, yes.
September 3rd to September 7th. Someone asked about, as far as books go, besides Ending Aging, any other particular books that would be useful for someone who wanted to get into the topic here of rejuvenation therapies?
There really isn't anything that would be a place to start. You've definitely got to start with my book. And I think the place to go after that depends on how much biology you know, or alternatively, how long you took to read my book and how much biology you have come to know as a result. Because, of course, the best place to go after that is the primary literature, and there's an enormous number of references in the book that are places where you want to go if you really want to understand more than what's in the book.
Okay, yeah. So, hey, go for Ending Aging. Start there. Buy it, read it, and learn about it. I did see a good question here as far as, about your hypothesis that DNA damage only matters in causing cancer, but a lot of science, that's not a widely accepted idea. And I know Hans Wieg and his genetic... Now,
Yeah, this is name, not Hans. Yeah, he's Dutch, not German.
Okay, I got you. Okay. Wieg, he has his genetic drift theory, which is basically based on DNA mutations throughout your life, causing your tissues to not be the same as when you were, 1 year old, right? They're different groups of cells within your organs are doing slightly different things because of genetic drift, and that may cause trouble as well, or some aspects of aging.
So the question that somebody asked was, this doesn't seem to be widely accepted by scientists, why do you think that is, and what can be done to change it?
Right.
And this is a rather classic example of scientists talking about more than they really understand. Because what's happened here is that actually Jan Wieg, whom you mentioned, and who is undoubtedly the leading scientist working on exactly this question, is the person who is most in support of at least the admissibility of what I'm saying. He thinks I'm wrong, but he thinks I might be right, and that's because he understands the problem and he understands my arguments much better than most people who feel able to comment on them. And of course that's part of why we actually ended up funding him. So we have a postdoc, Sylvia Gravina, working in Jan's lab now, looking at the accumulation of epimutations in the brain. That means changes in gene expression as opposed to changes in genetic sequence. And she's doing, and that's really the very most important work that needs to be done. Jan has known this for a long time, that it's the most important work that needs to be done, but it's quite likely to get a negative result, and negative results don't tend to get funded by the NIA.
Yeah.
So he's very happy to be doing this work with Peter Thiel's money, or with, of course, the money of all the people who've given to the Matilda Foundation and now the SENS Foundation. And I don't really care what other people think about me. I care what someone specialist like Jan thinks.